where it says what role can location play in the text beyond just the setting. And the Texas South Bronx, it says that so many lost to guns or needles or flames, and that speaks to me as like instead of everybody knows that the Bronx, it's not exactly the safest place, but here it's speaking about the things that actually goes on inside of that setting and not just the setting. So how there's gun violence, there was drug abuse, that's needles, and flames would be how when people went broke, they were burning down buildings for insurance money. So
I wanted to go back to what Guillermo was saying about the negative connotations that goes on throughout these texts. But I'm also trying to answer number one, how is the Bronx represented in the text? I also noticed that the majority of the text they talk about like a broken home, days of hunger, the knife edge. So they talk about the negative parts of the Bronx. But however, on the text South Bronx 1986, it doesn't talk about anything that's negative. It only talks about like the culture of hip hop, how people like interact with it, and how it is actually in the community. So it's like this whole, it's a, the lyrics in the previous ones. So it's just talking about the negative connotations, and I think that's where people get the idea of how the Bronx, how they think of the Bronx, like the Bronx is negative. If you keep talking about the negative parts of it, I understand you're trying to like express your pain. If you keep talking about the negative connotations about it, people are gonna start believing that. So I think it's like I'm more influenced by the text, the South Bronx, actually, from 1986, because, like I said, it talks about the culture and how people are in the actually in the community and how they act throughout with each other and how they embrace their own culture and that they created.
I want to bring it back to the message, and I want to answer like how can how can location play a role? So like we were talking about this yesterday in my group. It was like where in the message it was like got a bum education, double digit inflation, can't take the train to the job, there's a strike at the station, Neon King Kong standing on my back. This shows like the location of the Bronx. Like in the Bronx is like this parts in the Bronx that's like ghettos and slums and people just selling drugs in the street, like passing guns around and all that stuff, and you know doing all them illegal drugs and stuff like that. And this person is trying to like the artist is trying to like saying that he's trying to make it somewhere. He's trying to get a job. He's trying to do this and do that. But every time he try to do something good for his community, he ends up having something negative stop him from doing it. So like if you have all these negative, like everybody was saying, like I remember Samantha and everybody was saying like if you have something negative going around, if you have a lot of negative things going around your location and stuff like that and around you, you're gonna end up actually trying it or doing it and getting addicted to actually doing it. And if you don't try to like make it positive, like with Nia, I think she said that if you have to try to make it yourself and then come back and help. Like you have to try to get out of it and then come back and stop all this drugs and violence and stuff like that. So location does play a huge role in how you know what I'm saying, like how everything is and stuff like that.
I was gonna go over that because I remember last seminar we were talking about places like we were talking about Biggie and like how he represents where he's from and Tupac how he represents where he's from. So when you have music that's representing other people and like their struggles, the people listening to the music is gonna be able to relate more to it. And I was gonna go back to the message again when he was in that, and it says broken glass everywhere, people pissing on the stairs. You know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. So I'm pretty sure like a lot of people can connect to that, even like now or even back then they were able to connect to that. And then that's what makes the music stronger when people are able to connect to it, listen to it, and understand and know that they're not the only people going through the same thing. So it makes people feel like they're not alone, and it creates another like community outside of like I don't know. It just like creates a community in music and with the artists.
Just to interject for a second, we're in our last 5 minutes or so, so if you haven't spoken yet, this is a good time to add to the conversation. If you notice people wanting to get in and you have spoken, so please give them an opportunity too.
Yeah, I like what she said, like how the artist was like, if you change the artist's environment, they put out different music. So like, what he's saying, pissing on the stairs, you know, they just don't care. Like that's what he sees every day. People pissing on the elevator, pissing on the stairs, broken glass anyway. So he's talking about the struggle and how he wants to get out of it and how he wants to change his community. But like, if you change the artist, like, his environment, you can change the music he's producing. That's what.
Yeah. I want to say like how they already have like a future projected for like people that come out the Bronx. Like out here it says when you wind up dropping out of high school, now you're unemployed or not void walking around like you're pretty boy boy. Turning stick up kids, but look what you have done. That is it. Meaning that like most of the people drop out of high school, don't have a job, then like start selling drugs and violence, and they start having violence, and then they get arrested or they're that's where like every like person in the Bronx should.
So for the first question, where it says how is the Bronx represented in the text? Alright. So where it says how is the Bronx represented in the text? In the message it says and all the kids smoke weed, but I think it'd be cheaper if I just got a job, learn to be a street sweeper. I think it's showing that in the Bronx that most kids wouldn't want to, like they wouldn't want to like go to school and do. And the line before that says, my son said, "Daddy, I don't want to go to school. The teacher's a jerk. He must think I'm a fool." I think that shows that the Bronx is represented as a place where kids aren't exactly like enforced to go to school, or like education isn't something that is a priority. So they end up doing things like selling drugs or dropping out, and they end up just being another product of the environment that is
Yeah, I want to piggyback what he's saying, but I also want to contradict what he's saying and what like we were all talking about this whole day about how the Bronx is like this bad place, or like I said to myself like, oh, we have a negative connotation about us, on us, but I kind of want to contradict that because I've been noticing how we've been making progress as a like community. Like all these texts are old, but we've been making progress since the Bronx burning and since all the bad stuff that's been happening to us. And I use like a boogie as our hope, as like our symbol for like prosperity, because I feel like we're not that bad as a community. We're not as bad as Chicago. You can go to places in the Bronx and like feel safe. Cause I go places and I be by myself and I feel safe. But there are places, of course, where you can go is like dangerous, obviously. But we're not as bad as Chicago or like Compton or like South Philly or like these other places. Detroit, yeah, we're not as bad as these other places. We're making some type of progress, and I use A Boogie as a symbol for that because some of his music talks about the struggle, but some of his music has some positivity towards it. Some of his music, like he talks about females, he talks about other things. So he doesn't like necessarily just talk about like bad things, like how Chicago rappers all they talk about is like shooting and like killing, and like how Compton rappers all they talk about is like, the struggle they live in.
Yeah, back to what Fatima was saying earlier about how people see us and our environment behind us. I feel like a lot of the music that we hear, they mostly have negative tones. Everyone wants to talk about the struggle, and like I feel like if more people were talking about how Bronx is a community and how like we're a place of hope and all of that, people wouldn't see us as bad. But since we're already portraying our struggles out there in a way that makes us look like, oh, the Bronx is dangerous, you shouldn't come here because everyone's shooting each other, people want to do drugs all the time, la. But like if we can have a balance between talking about our struggles and talking about how the Bronx could be a place of hope and how the Bronx is a creative area, then people wouldn't necessarily like be afraid to come to the Bronx or be like seeing us as like bums and like people who don't value education.
Can you say what the last question was?
Actually, I think it is a great question that we will continue to, but we have about 2 minutes left, so I suggest that we return to that in class discussion on Tuesday. So, two things. Please finish your mind maps so we can collect those. Right now, we need to restore the classroom to its original setting.